Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. Even though when I usually do Archie Comics, I don't get quite as many views, but I like Archie Comics, so I'll do them anyway. This time I want to take a look at this graphic novel from Archie Comics. It's Archie and Friends All-Stars, The Cartoon Life of Chuck Clayton. And before we dig into that, got to have a word from our sponsor. That's me. Yeah. Remind you that my first comic book, Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology, is available on Amazon for $7.99. This is my comic book with comics, gags, humor, and some adventure stuff. So please check it out. That's just type in Bizarre Brain Comics and they'll come right up and you can get your copy, and I hope you enjoy it. And I want to thank all the people out there who have told me that they have already ordered, and some of it I know have received it. I don't even have my copies yet. So that's good. And I want to give shout out for a couple of other YouTube channels out there. Both these channels are by the same person, though. This is John Angelo. But it's spelled John Angelo. JONANJELLO. And on that one, he does as videos about of showing train graffiti. And that's kind of cool. And the other one is Evil Simok. That's EVOLSCIMOC. And that one he talks about comics and stuff. And he also has his own book available about train graffiti. So I want to give that shout out. Thank you very much. Now this is graphic novel is about Chuck Clayton. Ooh, as one of the Archie gang. And he's the central character. Now, most of the other Archie characters show up in the course of the story. This was written by Alex Simmons, with pencils by Fernando Ruiz, and inks by Al Nickerson. And the graphic novel is from 2010. It was previously published a few months earlier as a 4-issue miniseries. So this is a story told in 4 chapters. Okay, and Chuck Clayton, he's a fictitious teenage character appearing in various titles from Archie Comics. He's a friend of Archie and the gang in Riverdale. And he made his first appearance in Life with Archie, number 110 in 1971. And he is the son, of the high school's second coach, that's Coach Clayton, as opposed to the head coach, Coach Cleats. And he is an aspiring cartoonist and often creates his own comic book characters. Froggy. And the penciler, Fernando Ruiz, he earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Caldwell College and attended the Kubert School in 1991. And he's not only worked on Archie Comics, but he has worked as a commercial illustrator, book illustrator, and done storyboard work, etc., as well as other comic book stuff. And while continuing to work at Archie, he teaches now at the Kubert School. Sorry about that. That frog just didn't want to go away. And oh yeah, and Fernando Ruiz, he has his own YouTube channel in which he talks. He has does some drawing lessons, shows some of the artwork he's been working on at the time, and he shows how to draw some of the Archie characters as he does some of his private commissions. And Alex Simmons, the writer, he is an author of children's books, various kinds, some under pseudonyms, not just his own name, and a comics writer. And he is an art teacher. He is the author of The Art of Making Comics, and he has gives classes on art, classes on comic making. So this is right up his alley, because that's what this is. And I'm sure that he really saw a lot of himself in Chuck Clayton, because, well, they're both interested in writing, art, and comic books, and so when he was younger, he probably really saw a lot of himself in Chuck Clayton, because they were both Black American boys, teenage boys, and it's just a natural. And in the course of reading this graphic novel, you can. It's basically a class in creating comics. And you can see the cover here. Whoops, the cover here tells you a lot. You see, of course, Chuck Clayton. See a bunch of kids like they're making fun of him, throwing paper airplanes, erasers, etc. at Chuck. And here it says cartooning class. Over here it shows Professor Chuck. So it gives you some hints of what is inside, and I'll just briefly go through the story. Some nice artwork. I like Fernando Ruiz a lot. Start off with some kind of a little adventure going on here. Well, it turns out it's Chuck. It's a page that Chuck has done for his art class. Now, in the course of the story, here we find out that Chuck has a tendency to not do the assignment that he is given in art class. His teacher's lamenting, but he always does a cartoon or comic strip story. So for whatever his assignment is, he does comics. Because of that, he is recruited by a young teacher of small children at the elementary school. There are kids who they do that too. They don't do their art assignments. They just do comics and cartooning stuff. So he is recruited to teach a comic class for these students. And here we see this teacher here, who is really their regular art teacher, and his name is Mr. Sal. That's Edward A. Sal. I'll let you figure out what that name means. And he just looks down his nose at Chuck in his class. Chuck's trying to do, he's totally unprepared, but his mother is also a teacher, and she gives him a few teaching points, and so he gets the kids to work together, teaches them how to do each job, or that they've got each job on creating a comic book, like a writer, penciler, letterer, inker, colorist, etc. And it has just some funny stuff going on. And while he's teaching these kids, and they're all working together to produce a comic book, then he gets a big inspiration, and he's roped into another class. He's got at another school, some little older kids, and he's got to go through the whole thing again. Well, then he discovers that one of the students in there, who's little girl whose grandfather was a comic book artist, and one of Chuck's favorites, and he didn't know the guy lived there, and he is really discouraging the little girl from getting into comics because it's disappointing, and there are various reasons. We see some of the stuff from his comic book life and creation, and some very interesting things, and then Chuck gets a little inspiration from an ancestor, a relative of his. We get into the next one, and he goes to do another class, and it turns out he was totally unprepared for this one because he thought it was an art class. It was a history class, and he is supposed to use comics to help these kids do some history. They're supposed to be about ancient Greece, and he is totally unprepared because history is his worst class, is his worst subject. So he gets some inspiration to do with mythology. It'll meet the requirements, and so they gets him to do create characters based on these mythological characters, and they do their comic stuff there. Then on the fourth and the concluding part is another story, but right at the end, one of the students in his class is caught vandalizing. Ooh, not good, not good. And so we see some of Chuck's other classmates there are making a short film for community service, and they've all got all different ideas, and they're not really working well together. But because meanwhile, Chuck has his class to do, and he's wondering why the one boy isn't there. Even gets ropes Jughead into being a model for his class, and but one boy isn't there, and he goes to find out he was caught being a vandal. And it turns out he was actually trying to improve the playground where his little sister plays, but he didn't know how to go about doing that. And in the process, Chuck gets the film students to work with him and his cartooning students, and what they do is they get together and they build or rebuild, refurbish the playground. They make a video of it for their requirements, get the kid off the hook for the vandalism, because he wasn't doing vandalism. This is the playground that they create, and it's all better. And everyone's happy. It's a fun, good story. And then in the last few pages are a few pages of instruction on how to create a comic book. So that's a lot of fun, whether you like that stuff or not. It's a lot of fun, very interesting, and educational. So you can see why Alex Simmons, he did a really good job writing this story that will help inspire kids to become creators of their own. So that's all I've got for you this time. Please like, share, subscribe. How familiar are you with Chuck Clayton? I always liked the character, largely because he's a cartoonist. And I was glad to see a whole graphic novel written about him. So thank you very much for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe. Do leave comments. And remember, as this proves, comics are art.